it should be all set. Early stream today? Early stream today, Adventure of the Runaway Room. Let's roll. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Twice. Today we'll be continuing our, you know, extended playthrough
late last century. I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter.
Of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Case number 3.
A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Well, so far we've been accused of murder twice. I don't think this will happen a third time. Yet.
Amazing.
But
Really just a railway station?
My predictions aren't exactly the peak of sure things.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
Well, we made it to London at the very least. Did lose our best friend to a kitten. Indirectly. So, not an auspicious start. But hey, now we just gotta convince him that I am definitely a lawyer. I studied for 1 month on a ship with some books I had. So
hello.
I'm sure we're qualified.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall.
Hey, Spookster.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay.
Yeah. You are starting to realize that you're only gonna get attention from me because no one else is here.
Britain's mighty capital, London.
The birds are a nice touch. What did they do? Put the Supreme Court of London inside of Big Ben? Lord Chief Justice's office. There you go. You successfully laid down. That's rough on a cat, I know. So imposing. It's almost suffocating. Looks like a fortress. Clockwork fortress. Shout out to Professor Layton for providing me with the most ridiculous clockwork, like, monster menace terrorizing London. That's all I can think of now. Just the utter ridiculousness of that third game. Hey Crystal, how you doing today? Happy Friday. Kitty, you are very needy today. It's been one day. Less than one full day since Chelsea's left, and yet here you are. Just begging the ear rubs. Yeah, I'm doing alright. Got through a pretty nasty week of work, honestly. Just with meetings and like big projects being due or done, or at least done to a certain point. So, this is early stream, might not be that long, but we'll try to get through the whole case. Just a nice, relaxing stream. I'll drink my very blue, definite, just water. It's not Kool-Aid. I'm an adult. Joyous Friday indeed. Week's been going on and on and on. And, yeah, no, trust me. On Wednesday, I was like gung-ho. I was like, alright, tomorrow's Friday. We're almost done with the week. And then boss is like, actually, we have 5 meetings tomorrow. It's Thursday. I was like, okay. Well, I'm gonna go dunk my head in the toilet and scream until I feel better. Expect that to be Gatorade. That would be also a good conclusion. Glacier Freeze is by far my favorite Gatorade, so... I don't know what happened to the other flavors. Orange is whatever. Orange and lemon lime both just, like, have connotations of really... I mean... Okay, you get, like, a square picture of me, but, like, I used to be a football player back in, like, early high school and middle school. And let me tell you, two-a-days and stuff, where they just kind of stick you outside in August heat and say, hey, run around for a few hours, I'm sure you're fine. Started screaming during lunch, my friends were very concerned, but you just needed the scream. Yeah, sometimes you do. You just need the scream. But yes, I was like a foot shorter than I am now in high school, at least. And I didn't grow that until like senior year, so. Anyways, really hot August days. Lemon lime and like orange and fruit punch. I can't drink them anymore. I'm just like, oof. It was like 6 to 7 hours outside in full equipment. It's terrible. Red's also okay. Fruit punch. Glacier's best. White's okay. Orange is meh. Yellow is okay. I also think that, like, strawberry lemonade, underrated. That one's pretty good, too. Hello. You look pretty imposing and evil. I assume you're the Chief Justice. Seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no. Don't mention. I'm never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much same here. Raspberry lemonade, though? Well, if we're talking... Strawberry lemonade's like a legitimate Gatorade flavor. Just talking lemonades, I mean, you could add pretty much anything to lemonade, and I'd be down with it. I'm a big sour fan. Sour, please. Included. Male Strongheart. As in, like, maelstrom. A big storm. It's good. It's a, At least they spelled it like that, and not just, like, male the sex. Which would be probably the most generic name I've ever seen. In case you need to know the stream's frozen, might just be me. Can you hear it perfectly fine? Just frozen. Might be you. Because I monitor the... I have the stream go on a second channel. Or a second monitor here. And it's running there. Because I monitor both over... Because I'm a control freak, so I monitor both things. So I think this one might just be you. Fellow Pain Salt fan. Pain Salt is a... I'd love to steal that. Yes, anything sour can go right into my belly. And that includes pretty much anything. Like, honestly. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Just thank you. Converse. Hi, I am definitely the law student you are expecting. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. Thanks, Asada. Wait, a wonderful view of some London streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. They were so full of poop and grand. They're impressive and grand. Yes, yes, they are full of poop. It's the 1800s. The cities boast tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. Or maybe it's early 1900s? Late 1800s, early 1900s, I can't remember now. Every visitor to London is astounded. And it looks like you make it so. And if you're not astounded, he'll stare at you until you are. Back and the frozen is gone. Nice. But yes, sour pain salt. Skittles, pretty good. Sour Skittles, much better. Gummy worms, alright. Sour gummy worms, excellent. Just give it like a hint of tart. Even like raspberries have a little bit of like tartness to them. Raspberry pie? Oof. Used to make those as a kid. They were so good. Except for the part where I had to actually pick the raspberries, which took like an hour to get like a nice half a bowl. Oh man. Sour gummy worms are... my weaknesses rotate based on when I'm introduced to a candy I've forgotten about. Like currently my weakness is Milk Duds. For some reason. Don't really know why. I guess I like feeling pain in another way. Sour is one kind of pain, and the other kind of pain is when your jaw is too tired to chew through that caramel, and you do it anyways, because I'm a psychopath. But sour gummy worms are kind of just like a permanent weakness for me. Sour apple tarts? Me too. Mr. Kazuma Asoki, if my memory serves. That's right. Which government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. Yep, he tripped on Kitten. Kind of. Not really, but that's the story we're going with. Haven't eaten one in years because I have bad jaw, and also retainers and braces. Things I never had, and now I've got a nice snaggletooth where if I don't set my mouth right, this little tooth right here just like juts out. It's real cute. Or ugly, depending on your perspective. I'm used to it though, it's fine. I don't think you can stream without being confident that insults won't hurt you. Hey Pirate, how you doing? Good to see you as well. Happy weekend to you. From me and Kitty. This fluffy mass, I promise, is a cat. Somewhere down here. Just inform you. The death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madam? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Well, it's taken 2+ cases just to get here, but hopefully it goes well. Considering there's half of a game remaining, I'm pretty sure it will. Thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you'd consider allowing the study tour to go ahead? Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead, but without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Strong heart. Yes, male, or Malstromheart. Malstrongheart. M-A-E-L. I don't think any localized name could ever top the, oh god, what was this monstrosity? It was like Peaslub... One second. This guy's first name was Peaslubben, and his last name was Andestanden. And that might be the most painful and hilarious localization I've seen in a while. Possibly ever. And if you ask me to spell that, I can't. But the tab says it's P-E-E-S apostrophe L-U-B-N. That's one word, right? And then his last name is A-N-D-I-S-T-A-N apostrophe D-H-I-N. It hurts me to even look at it. It's... what a name. Maelstrom's word? Yeah, Maelstrom is strong storm of sorts. A vortex. So yeah, they do it all the time, and sometimes they're nice and subtle with it, and then sometimes they slap you in the face with just a stupid pun. Let's Ace Attorney for you. I have acted as a lawyer in court before, when I was proving my own innocence because I was accused of murder. And then a second time, but it wasn't a court of law, but I was also accused of murder. But we're gonna gloss over the details. Smart, smart. Good idea. Good plan. Hey, Zach. Spending every spare moment on the journey here to create Britain's then. Learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Berga. Stupid pun names are the actual best. I mean, yeah. I try to make all my titles stupid pun names. It's great. I know that I've got a good one when even I say after I've come up with it, ooh. If I make myself ill, I know it's a good pun. I'd do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. I have not paid enough attention to this part of the story, but I assume it's just him pleading his case. 31 seconds. Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. And your title's name is good, sir. Well, thank you. My cat writes them for me. Thanks, Bookster. So we can put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. But let me ask you one thing first, sir. You say you intend to do everything Mr. Sogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things, or did his expression just alter the fraction there always? Yeah, something's tied with a Sogi here, and I don't know what it is, and I don't even know if it'll come to light until the second game, or what. We're already 40% of the way through. More or less. Test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. What form will the test take, actually? Well, tell me, Mr. Naruhodo. What do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Isn't Skatebird. That's true. I don't think I'm dexterous enough for Skatebird, unfortunately. Let's have you defend someone. Why don't you go play Skatebird? Yeah? There's an apt trial. I gotta work. And this has stopped you before. When? Are we all pretending here that we work 24/7 and definitely don't take breaks? Because I'm down for it. I definitely haven't played any Final Fantasy XIV in the past year and a half. Or any other games. Sleep for 14 hours. I work for 8. Now, I'm no math major. Ah, there's the other 2. You eat for 2. There it is. But I know that... I don't know your sleep schedule, but I know it's shit. So I don't believe the 14. A murder trial. Of course it's a murder trial. I don't think there's ever been an Ace Attorney game where someone hasn't been murdered. In every single case. Now you might be going about proving other things at the same time. 14 is just split up into 4 sections. Okay. That might make sense. I can see that. Even the ones that start off without a murder, you just know there's eventually gonna be a murder in the case. There's one game where it's you're actually solving like a burglary and you're like sick. Then halfway through you're like dead body. Well, these things happen. Zone out 23 hours a day, zone back in for a cumulative total of 1. Hey, that's alright. You just make sure that 1 hour is like high impact. A-okay. Okay, so we're going to try to defend a man's life, and I'm sure he'll be very excited to get a lawyer from Japan in his first case. I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. As in, I don't need to win? Or just weird phrasing. Defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, I'll be hanged. 1 hour is me stressing out about something until I zone back out again. Okay, well then the zoning out is just like you protecting yourself, in which case I can respect that too. And then you just dip back out. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I'd like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? Yeah, let's agree to this absurd test. Okay, he can't say yes. Pretty sure I've seen an opposite Jim Carrey movie like this. It's as expected, is it? Sorry. You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Stromberg. Thank you for offering me a chance. What could I do besides say yes? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. Sorry for wasting your precious time. Or something else? They said, nudging each other as they knew that there were cases left in this game. Nudge, nudge. It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. If that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. An exclamatory one. Why doesn't he have a representation? Okay, we don't get an answer to that one. Life is unfair. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. That's okay, I kind of view state in and out for most of the day, and then I, at some point, fall asleep. Currently, my life is punctuated by petting the cat. And that's it. I don't really have anything else going on right now. Kelsey's gone. I don't look too bad right now, and she'll be back by Monday, and you guys can't see the house, so I think we're fine. But I probably will fall apart on the weekend. It's almost guaranteed. And or I just will forget to do something random and essential. So far so good though. Holding together. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. The Old Bailey. Alright, let's go. Okay, guys, this isn't even a jail cell. You've just brought me directly to the courtroom. I don't have any knowledge about what's happened. I'm somehow in a worse position than I was in either of the other two cases at this point. Cat pet's the best thing to punctuate zoning out. Yeah, maybe it's the cat's power though. Like, if the cat climbs onto me and starts purring, it puts me to sleep. I can't help it. Or at least starts making me lose consciousness. I'm pretty sure it's just her stealing my vitality and life essence, but, you know, it's pleasant, so I don't care too much. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. This is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. Top of the morning to you, madam, sir. What a hat. What are you doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, aren't they? Are they? Just like those expressionless faces. From the East, are yous? We're from Japan, yes. Right. Say no more. So, how much do yous need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. Been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving yous 1,000 guineas. I don't know what guineas are. Other than pigs. Which, while entertaining, probably wouldn't be good. It's enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious era of Tokyo. Oh, I see. 'Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. Enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. That much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, I couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Some of those things you can tell that this was made on the 3DS. Just like some movies that were made for 3D, you can kind of tell because every like 10 to 15 minutes they'll just have a weird moment where they're like, whoa, whoa, and then they'll be back to normal. Spy Kids 3D. What a nightmare. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's gonna start without me having any kind of representation at all. Why don't you have representation, very rich man? Terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Bluster and blazes, do yous not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names? No, sorry, we've only just arrived in the city, you see. I see. Suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Park? What? It is called Gilded Park. Full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. Nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its quare old people. Wonder if this guy's faking his richness? It could be. I don't... There's some facade there, for sure. I just don't know if it's a facade where he's just sad, or if it's a facade and he's not great. Quite a top hat, though. It does look to be about half of his height. Like, his entire legs are probably about that length. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. Okay, he's still breathing really heavy. So if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? Giving you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This chancer of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well. Well. Yup. Actually. Like you said, if you have all that money, but you don't have anyone to represent you in court, there's no other logical conclusion that you're guilty of all charges. It was probably the wrong thing to say, but it's what I'm feeling right now. Well, you call a spade in these, so you do. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any offense. Still can't express myself very well in English, you see, and I'm never sure what's acceptable to say and what isn't, so... That's so. You sounded fluent enough when you were telling me what a blackguard I must be. Blackguard? I can't say that I blame you for thinking it, fella. It is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry, did he just say Reaper? Barak Van Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fellow at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Barak Van Zeeks. He's an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Okay, well, guess we're going to the court case anyways. With that ominous overtone. Sounds good. Decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? Then you made an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure. Yeah, I know. I was sent by the Chief Justice. It is. It is fate. I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Sir Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Alright, this is fine. We know somehow even less than we did at the start of this case. Or at the start of the game, I mean. Oh, I'm sure it's gonna be good. So that's the jury, right? I don't know what to do with them. I just know that the game includes a jury system, which is still, like, scripted as heck, but kind of adds an interesting proceeding to it. Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. Oh, hello, Dracula. And also Santa Claus. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded, and now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. Have you drunk enough blood, Mr. Barrack? It really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Flair for the dramatic over there. Old man from The Legend of Zelda. Oh, the King, Dolphus? Is that the king's name in this case? Daphne's? I don't remember. I get them confused. There's a couple. One's from Wind Waker. I can see that. Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. Stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. I'm quite sure you wish to entrust your defense. Oh my god, when does the racism stop? This is the casual barbs. As always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow is a student from some little island off in the far east. It's not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give to those less fortunate a fair chance. It's, no, you colonize. That's the British way. I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. What a fine gentleman London has. You know, they donated £5,000 to the government the other day. Seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGill. Definitely welcome news. And certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend it. Eloquently put, Mr. McGill. Most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Yes, my lord. The task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong. I'm more than ready. Yep, seems impartial. Okay. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Okay, it seems like they really just want to kill me. Kill our any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. I feel a chill. Don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. The court's final verdict depends on the opinion of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on... Oh no, not common sense. Everyone in this universe is always an idiot. No. They're stupider than my cat here. And just as distractible. Kitty, you're shoving your face into the wall of your bed. I don't know what you want from me. Okay, we don't know how they give their verdict. I'm sure that will come up at an inconvenient time in this case. Yes, I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Agreed. Prosecutor Benzeeks. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. Thought you'd renounced your fame. Known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years I have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. What brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination. Maybe he'll be rusty. Probably not. Opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. Yeah, you say so. The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. So thrice? Three times. He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. The dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. There's the autopsy report. I'll have to take a peek at that. For sure. They actually have photographs. Life is good. Never thought I'd miss a photograph. Cause of death is internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound from the abdomen. That sounds very bloody. And further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. These are... Good lord, is that blood, counsel? Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. Well, good start. Good start. Yeah, great. Good work. McDonald's. Magnus McDonald's. Bloodstain only on the right glove. Back to the corner before I even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. And the other was Magnus McGilgood. Rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening, but whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it, like me and cats. Okay, so he claims he was asleep. And when he opened his eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give a man a hand. Only one glove, though. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Good lord. How many words does she type in a minute? 150 WPM? The killing took place. Only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. It was not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. What's your testimony from these witnesses? What, were they like on the street outside, or what? Your names and occupations. Well, my name as well. Everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name is First. Lady First. I make hats for okay. Let's push through that one. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in or on, and they were witness to the aforementioned incident. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. That was not very helpful testimony for me. Probably gonna have to push or press through some of that. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. Can I ask a question, if I may? No, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. I don't think we're gonna do that well. How quaint. I dread that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. Yikes. You're in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. We arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? How? Carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably, you understand that much. Yes. Omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. That's convenient for my investigation, at least. Unless it doesn't show good things. Bring forth the stricken omnibus! That's an omnibus. The omnibus. Can't believe they would bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Four passengers seated inside and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city of architecture and sights would be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests. A skylight. I don't know, how well of a sight would that give? The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident through the skylight. Counsel, this is first. All my years behind the bench, I never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. Incredible. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. See no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Alright, we're gonna have to start looking through that, like ASAP. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. Okay, well, I don't want to cross-examine yet. Let's take a peek at this. Somewhere between 10 and 11. Stabbed once. Okay, that makes sense. Let's look at the photograph. Anything weird? Not really. There's no blood on the handle or anything, so if he was wielding it, it wouldn't have gotten on his gloves. Theoretically. Anything weird on the inside? Doesn't seem like it. The most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Gilded right-handed. Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. If only he'd been left-handed. I don't think that would have stopped it. Okay. God, what am I even looking for, man? Okay, that's the skylight, so we want to look at that. Certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin, so I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's pretty bad! That's not looking good. Open sesame. Okay. Blood, sure. See, visible. Did you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Is there a way you look at it? It doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Anything weird on the notices? Poster for a great exhibition. It's due to start in 6 months. A lot of folks being drawn to the Crystal Tower. Okay, nothing there. What's this? Okay. All sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tubs to repair vehicles, blankets. It's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. No space for passengers to stow their luggage. Strange stuff. Nothing here, though. Only... Don't you? I mean... Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Yeah. Well, I don't see anything else that, like, stands out. Let's see how much we can muddle through, I suppose. Pray don't expect this nipping you straight to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Honestly, I think we're just gonna press on everything. I didn't see a lot of stuff in this, unless there's a new... Yeah, let's just press on everything. I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, ever so cold it was, sir. For freezing, in fact. You had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? That's right, sir. Not at all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, though. No. No other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? Quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. Nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on running it. On it running, he does, every evening. That last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. With it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the road, you see. I spend that much at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again.
Hold it!
You sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. Kinda wonder why. Like, what's the point? I guess more like it's like, I guess, same as like a sunroof. Two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces, but there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGonagall. You'd be so sure. Well, how can I put it politely? McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Don't forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. I was even looking down in the first place. Why not? Maybe he was just scanning the horizon, he saw motion. I don't know. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair dinkum hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Not much there. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord. My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never. This guy's alright. Always up to something or other. They shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. You can't fool me. Wow. Who taught them fire technology like that? No point in wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. It's precisely what I was about to say. Excuse me? What is happening here? I sure as heck don't know. That's how the members of the jury give their verdicts, with fire? Now, apparently, yes. White for innocent, black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. Alright, well they're going to stress us out with that the rest of the game. And next game. Very nice. Stabbed him, you say. You're sitting up on the roof deck, were you? That's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'm thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge, great knife. A grim sight indeed. Just made everyone even more dubious that he's telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. I don't know if we really do. Mr. First. Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. And the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial, the letter M. That could belong to anybody. Going good. Made a magnificent mistake. Everywhere, like, yes, like in Mason. Objection. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. But this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. No, don't do this to me. What are you gonna do? Five guilty and like hang on the last words? The whole rest of the case? Sacrosanct, is it? Must accept hard truths. I don't think fire has weight. It's like plasma. Doesn't matter. Don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth. I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I'm now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Okay. It's going well. Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. So what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. Okay, we'll keep pressing them. It'll go well. Yeah. Alright, I'll keep trying. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passengers. Yes, collapsed on my floor he was. By the passenger, obviously, you were referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand, like this. By the other passenger, obviously, you're referring to the accused. Mr. Magnus McGilded, and then he plunged down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. My lord, I wish... Oh, God, they're gonna do 5 now. They're gonna do exactly that. As master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. Wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. But I've heard enough now. The horse is bolted, as they say. Going great. Buckbow is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man said. Okay, that's not impartiality. He knows him. I guess I should have expected that. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Please be senile. Please be senile. Or very distracted by your knitting. You've heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your lien? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. The Gilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' faces, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely. May we go to the McGilded Public Library later and borrow some more books? Londoners live with their heads in the clouds. Do you people not know what kind of man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man is he? Said his defense lawyer. The philanthropist Magnus McGonagall has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? The client is a Shylock, sir, and one of the very darkest of souls. I don't know what that is. McGilded lends money... Oh, he's a lender. Lends money to extortionist rates of interest so his victims have no hopes of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? Not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment day for his debts. Brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to pay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded.
Hold it!
You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded, but where's the evidence to support your claim? Definitely blood. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice in a court of law. There it is. Lord Van Zeek's hollowed chalice. How can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice and a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. Okay. The victim owed 20 guineas, which is a significant sum, apparently. Those pigs can do a lot of work. Okay, two things. I want to see the murder weapon itself. Okay, I mean, I definitely saw that there. Part is the sheath. Yes, I do know that it's the sheath. Sorry, yes, I just don't really like blades. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. Yep, pretty bloody. Anything else? I mean, there's the M, but that looks a lot like blood. Yeah, it's blood. Yeah. Everyone bleeds the same. I just arrived here. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Okay, useless. Ledger. Let's open the ledger. Know any of London's gentry personally, apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. Sure, we will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside. Well, let's see what we do find. Ah, yes, of course. Very helpful. Gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Bruce Fairplay. That's one of the witnesses. Borrowed 20 guineas as well. Repayment date is fast approaching. Okay. That's something. That's probably all we're getting out of this, but that's something. He's made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the wool pulled over my eyes. Incredibly, madam, it is the modus operandi of the accused. It's such a pretty little park, too. A scoundrel. Still, maybe it's all for the best. No? I don't stand for nonsense. Okay, well, I guess we lose. I'm gonna go to the bathroom in this defeat, and we'll proceed from there momentarily. Sorry I abandoned you. Kitty cat. Do they still allow you to do arguments even after everyone has voted? I don't know. This is the first time it's happened to me. But I'm assuming so because, again, this is the wrong controller. It's a visual novel. When you boil it deep down. Oh, what a meow. What a pathetic, pathetic meow. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Thanks, Sato. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that sounded very helpful. There's a footnote, though. However, the defense... Okay, we can finish the footnote. Finish the footnote. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. I will now conclude the trial in accordance with the laws of this country by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no I have many objections. So many. Footnote. Orders very concluded, the defendant is guilty, court proceedings, Footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. I'm really... What an objection. Summation examination. For which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. What even is it? Oh, one moment. I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Okay, you're a terrible person too, Barrack. Got it. Under this procedure would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. Appeal them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. As in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision, but the procedure became something of formality with no practical benefit, really, so rather fell out of use. It's devoid of purpose. Changes for members of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try it in this day and age. Suggesting that, although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. Well, might as well, otherwise the game's over again. Forget it. Ah.
Objection!
an embarrassment that should remain buried. Then we say, no you. And our petition is apparently perfectly valid. This is madness. Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? I'm not, there's no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they reached their decision. You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Oh, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. I thought we could just choose based on our guts. I don't really hold with all this justifying, Mark. Well, let's do it. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years. Let's go. Might be the opportunity we've been looking for. Because we've had none so far. None opportunity. Judicial findings. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. The biggest no one to Mr. Bigby. I trust the driver. He's an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I've simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence in years. Scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Okay, well... Granny's a little confused, so I guess we'll start with that one. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. What do we do? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. They reach their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. From what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. Randomly selected. Yeah, you got a member of the Heckin' Drivers Guild, or the Omnibus Guild. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down. Listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says. And see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Let's do it. All right. Your turn to die. Memories intense. Oh. I was wondering why this seemed familiar. I mean, besides like the Danganronpa nonsense that it's definitely cribbed from, which I love as well. Son of, had to remind me of that. The worst part is you had to remind me, and it's not finished yet. That's the worst part of it all. 4 passengers, fares totaling 20 pence. That's 5. Wait. Okay, that doesn't make sense at all.
Objection!
Fancy to look forward to the rest. Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be... I mean, I thought there'd be a lot more chapters, honestly, but it's also kind of... It's one of those things that Danganronpa runs into where eventually you're running out of cast members. And you're like, better finish it, because otherwise there's no one left. We're gonna explain basic math to these folks. Guys, that would be 5 pence, or a 5th passenger. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. There's a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Yeah, I am looking forward to it too. Definitely. Just like I've got my fingers, except I know this is going to happen, and I'm not sure about the other thing, but fingers crossed that they localize Ace Attorney Investigations 1 and 2, because I'll definitely play those two. Please. Well, the Ace Attorney Investigations 1 got localized, but then 2, which is like widely regarded as one of the best ones in the series, didn't get localized because Life is Pain. And a new Ace Attorney. That's all. I'm a simple man. I just got 2 Ace Attorneys, and I want 3 more Ace Attorneys. A mysterious 5th person, perhaps? On the omnibus that night. It's distinctly possible. Well, there's another passenger we've heard nothing about. Coachmen of the Guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword. To consider that if this trial were to end now, the news would surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. That makes this miserable town doesn't end, then. Well? You simply launch a ball of fire onto the different side of the scales. Easy peasy. This is all very irritating. Begging your pardon, sir. I'm gonna do the same. Bonk. For the love of Mike. Mike? Who's Mike? Penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters. I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. And should change 2 more jurors' minds. We can force the trial to continue. Well, I definitely can do that, because Granny's very confused. That should be pretty easy. What's he got to do with this? This isn't about him. Maybe he's the mysterious 5th passenger. Maybe they're just setting up for a great Mike pun. Be like, oh yeah, Mike. Mike condolences. Okay, yeah. So that one's fine, but why do you think it's on the floor? Like, come on.
Objection.
Come on, Granny. Dear me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? I've heard from more than one witness that they all allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3. Can't you see I'm busy here? Can't get his knife out. What sort of motion was it? You want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him even without getting up. Just like the prim banker said. How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, then? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. Coachman said so. Now, don't move! Take a look at those 2 jurors. Bless my stitches, what a muddle! Strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Why the dickens would they lie? Don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. They're so British. Well, as they should be, I suppose. I hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. God. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? Let's say this Shylock did stab the victim as he sat next to him on the omnibus, and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Let's say it didn't happen like that, Ready to kill each other now. Good work. The foreman of the jury be right? No, there's 1 stab wound. It is out of the question. What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what I want to see. I say the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. You say that's out of the question. Show me some proof. I mean, the autopsy report is 1 stab wound. It's pretty simple. Does it say specifically 1 here? Once in the abdomen. That's it.
Take that!
I don't know why he sounded Scottish there, but that's fine. quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've won. Not really, we've let the court case continue. Liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every hair off his head. Please tell me he's a barber. In a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there's no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. Wow. 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 Return to their places, and I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Okay. I'm gonna need you to calm down. Gotta go. No worries, Crystal. Good to see you as always. Have a good weekend. May seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray, forgive the discourtesy. So your antiquated tome no doubt says the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination, so I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. What a uniform. I trust you heard the summation examination we just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Yes, sir, I heard it. You, sir, on the end, the coachman. Believe it's Beppo? As far as in your previous testimony, you're attempting to veil the presence of a 5th passenger on your omnibus. You will be found guilty of perjury. You're advised to bear that in mind, sir. Say, oh mio Dio. Various misgivings. Caring for passengers, but I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Fiddled us on the ferry did, and then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. Phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. Confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little whatever that word is. Cozenage? Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold, and the last round of the day is always half empty. So he does it on the last run of the day. Disgrace, Bravo. A disgrace, and your selfless actions have brought dishonor upon the entire guild. If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. What? That's true, Sasato, because that is exactly how math works. Thank you. Okay, well that didn't go well. So that's fifth passenger not happening now. Okay, only carried 4 passengers that night, but charged 5. I think we're just gonna have to press, because I don't see anything there that, like, is damning. Maybe to get a reaction out of one of the other two. It's possible, like, last round of the day pay. I'm so cold. All I do to stop myself passing out. Chilblains? Childblane? Chill? That's a word. I want to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. It was terrible. Doesn't dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. Only there had been a fifth passenger though. Okay. Not great stuff there.
Hold it!
Much like the Phantom Killer you so desperately needed, it's gone dead and buried. Been happy if it had never existed in the first place, though.
Hold it!
Just waiting for an audio cue or something to bail us out of here. Not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, and that's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating. Ah! Spreading butter. I can't even eat toast anymore. Hold it! It's a travesty, it is. Saw the defendant, Mr. McGill, did stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who's sitting next to him. That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? Why does he hesitate? Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. Wish I could work out what it was.
Hold it!
Okay, so the ice pick thing didn't happen. Okay, so that removes that, which is fine. It's not like we were really depending on it. We just used it to get some people leaning towards innocent here.
Struth!
Hi.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now, you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. You didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? You asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information if I answer him clearly. Could he just happen to see the exact moment that crime was committed? Nope. We're just gonna say no. Just egg him on. It's a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of the omnibus, that is. Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it clear as a Ballarat day. It's a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Excuse me, getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I could forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher's stab. Okay, well, he definitely had gloves on, so now we're just gonna do this. Music stops. We're clear. Certainly does appear to be a sizable stain on there, but as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. I thought he was pulling on his mustache, but now I'm realizing that he was eating his cane and bending it. Is that really the truth?
Objection!
And also munching on it, like a beaver.
Objection!
think we're leading... to the debtors. Are you sure you want to present evidence? Are you really positive?
Take that!
You know evidence is good when you can actually make the text change. Point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. It's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor be sentenced to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to it would be annulled. They would cease to exist. It's not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence, Pete Williams, did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands, both of them. And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves was stained. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir. Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes, I'm almost sure it was on both his hands, not just one. Okay. Yars. What they really saw. There's blood on both the hands of the assailant. I distinctly, and sincerely remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't see anything myself, no. Not until I heard the scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we would have all seen. Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? Truth of fact, not one of you has witnessed the crucial moment that the crime was perpetrated. There's no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's not really what testimony's about, though. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well. Your cross-examination, please. Okay, we'll do our best. I mean, honest. I think we want to go to this one where it says there's no space for any other people.
Hold it!
Everything you saw in the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Why were you sitting on the roof deck in the first place? I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It's public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yeah, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. If there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed. There's no way. Oh. I didn't have a option there. Oops. Yeah, we've examined it. I think we gotta go back to that, and I pressed the wrong one.
Hold it!
Okay, let's do this again. I don't think they could have seen everything. Be right back. reason. Alright, let's go. At this stage, we can't say for sure, but the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, it could have been another passenger.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Let's just lift ye old lever, shall we? Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated? They saw here, and I'm saying here. They face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means a visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight. Since I've drawn... Oh, they're not even... We haven't even gotten that far yet. Okay, that's fair. See, opposite the one on which the victim's attire were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, someone had been sitting on that seat. Be completely unaware.
Objection!
We need to put a name to the passenger. You're asking me too far. We don't... It'd be someone else. I have no idea. A delightful thing to admit. Go on. What name? We don't have any other names. Like, actually, we don't have a name right now. We've got 0 names. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Still to name the passenger in the other seat. Night of the murder. The person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured. Unless he's saying that the person next to him was not McGilded, who is 48. God, that's a bad looking 54. I mean, I guess it's gotta be him. They couldn't see him, and they thought that the other guy was him. Something, 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 something. Not sure. We'll figure it out.
Objection!
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. People talk of those tiny island nations as having a learning culture of their own, but I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. Just love it. Love the casual racism. Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. The bloody scene unfolded. The victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. Yeah, and I'm saying that's the wrong premise.
Objection!
There are a lot of inconsistencies, though.
Objection!
Objection!
True culprit.
Objection!
Objection!
Delivering honest testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Both gents were hatted. Hatters tend to notice those things, sir. What style of hats they had? I don't remember that. What kind of hatter do you take me? A mad one, perchance. How can you be so sure? Because if there had been, the accused would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Well, he was sleeping, but more importantly... Why would you object to doing that? A suspect who already made a full statement to the police. Deliberately obfuscating. Yep. Gotta figure this out. Okay. We're moving on to the next part. Okay. Gotta figure out about the third party. Truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all month. Do I tell yous all or keep me mouth shut? The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. Huh? What now? No, Magnus Begilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now. Truly sorry, so I am, Lord Von Zeeks. I'm sure you want to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see. If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. Who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. Aye, well, the wee ting just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw him before or since. You have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What? Hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff amid scenes of chaos, people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. No idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being, at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. I think that's where we'll end it today, actually. I have some stuff to do. And, yeah. A little bit of a shorter stream today, so apologies for that. But we'll save my voice for next week. We'll have a birthday stream next Monday, and Eastward all next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Might do another stream on Friday to finish this off. We'll see. We'll see. But either way, thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you like, leave a follow or just come back, hang out any other time you want. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, the usual. And yeah, thanks for watching. Toodles.